Sean Baker here. Did you know that around 2.5 million people in the United States suffer from something called OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder? Now, this
Okay, so this is my purview. This is my speciality. I don't know. I've got chronic OCD. I did. Anybody who's already listened to some of my videos knows that I did carnivore for 5 months last year, and the most significant change I seen was with the OCD. Just that kind of thing where you're like, you get that thing like, oh, I need to double check that. I need to double my ass. OCD is more like I need to 16th time check that, and then you just kind of go like, no, I don't need to do that. Like, it's just stupid. I'm not like entertaining this bullshit today. And it's so much easier to do when I was on carnivore. The only time my OCD would get kind of anyways be still kind of like it was before was when I would be going out trying to tackle my agoraphobia, because I'm housebound agoraphobic. So it was kind of, it's like you kind of feel like you need to do it just in case, because I'm tackling this other thing. But when I was at home, I just didn't have OCD. I find myself doing patterned behavior, but that was more just because it was a habit. It wasn't because I actually had to. And then I'd say like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that another time? You don't need to do that. And it was fine. So yeah, being in long-term ketosis, I really did notice that. And when I stopped doing carnivore, after, it wasn't straight away. People say like, oh, I ate a vegetable and the next day I wanted to kill myself. Like, it wasn't like that for me. But when I started kind of eating crappy foods again and some ultra-processed food and things, it would only be like a couple of times a week that I would do it. And then I'd have like a high-fat, pretty much carnivore the other days. But even those kind of couple of days of introducing that stuff back into my diet, after a couple of weeks I started noticing, I'm checking again. I'm washing my hands more again. And I noticed it, like it creeps back in. So interested. Anyway, Dr. Sean Baker, he's one of the massive carnivore guys. One of the first people I found on the internet when carnivore started coming up on my feed, and I thought he was crazy. I thought he was a hack. I thought he shouldn't be allowed to practice medicine, because I thought what he was saying was absolute garbage. And turns out I pretty much agree with everything he says these days. So it just shows when you try something for yourself and see the benefits, doesn't, even if it goes against everything you've ever been told about nutrition, you see the results. But anyway, let's see what he's talking about with OCD.
leads to things like obsessive hand washing or obsessively checking the light switch and so on and so forth. And it can be quite disabling for many people, and many people are
Quite disabling. Oh, that's cute. OCD, if you have OCD, it literally will consume your entire life, and it will make your life so small. It's like agoraphobia. Your life becomes smaller and smaller and smaller because you can't actually handle the stress. At least with agoraphobia, you can stay in and you cannot go out, especially these days, because we can order everything we need online and we can work online. So we can bank online, we can do everything online, except maybe go to a doctor. But yeah, like with the OCD, it's 24/7 non-stop in your brain. There is no escaping it. It's so, I don't even know how to describe how debilitating it is if you've got OCD. Like, it just consumes your every moment. And people have all different forms of OCD, but if you've especially got what they call pure OCD, where you get those like intrusive thoughts, and I'm not just talking about a thought you don't want, I'm talking about a thought you cannot get rid of, that is like plaguing you, that's OCD. So yeah, it's torturous. And again, I've said this in other videos, go to Dr. Reed Wilson's channel and start doing some of the things Dr. Reed Wilson suggests. He's the best person I found to deal with OCD, and his tactics really work, but it's much, much easier to put his tactics into use if you've cleaned up your diet and you're exercising regularly, it's so much easier to use his suggestions. But he's definitely the best I've ever found. So Dr. Reed Wilson, I'm going to put a link in the description for him.
Are heavily medicated with all kinds of psychiatric medications for this. Well, a recent study was just publishing with a case series of people going on ketogenic, animal-based ketogenic diets and carnivore diets. And what it shows was, at least for those individuals, that they were able to fully put the OCD into remission. And that when they tried to reincorporate carbohydrate foods back in, the symptoms came back again. So this is very interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the carbs, because when I came off carnivore, I also started eating like maybe twice a week. I'd have like chocolate and I'd have like supermarket bread, because I'd make myself like a toasted cheese with supermarket bread and things like that. I don't think it was necessary, or like, it not necessarily that I was getting the symptoms back because of like having the odd potato, which is high carb. It could have been the ultra processed, it could have been the sugar that's hidden in all of these ultra processed foods. I do think I feel a lot more anxious when I do eat refined sugar. I don't have that problem with fruit so much, but with refined sugar, yes, definitely ultra processed food. So I think though that the long-term ketosis must, healing the mitochondria, like replacing and replenishing the mitochondria, getting better functioning mitochondria, is probably the reasons why it went in the first place, and probably just the reintroduction of inflammation in the brain is probably why it came back. But I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I don't know. I just tell you from my personal experience that, there was a reintroduction of carbs, but there was also a reintroduction of sugar and ultra-processed food, small amounts. So, I don't know which one of them went, but it definitely, it started to creep back in, and then before you knew it, before I knew it, I was kind of like back to the way I was the previous, like year before I'd started the whole keto, carnivore, healing, metabolic psychiatry journey.
As I've said many, many times, carnivore diets, ketogenic diets as well, can be used therapeutically for a whole host of different ailments, to include psychiatric illnesses as well. So anyway, if you know somebody that's suffering from OCD, please send them this study. It may be worth trying. All right, guys, I'm going to enjoy these 3 wonderful steaks. They all come from the Alpine Butcher. They're going to taste great. Y'all take.
Okay, so, yeah. Okay, so, you got a happy face. I'm going to use that for the screenshot, for the thumbnail of this video. Yeah, I will say it was the one thing I noticed the most significant difference with. And also I remember like even going out